What's up, everybody? Welcome in to another episode of the 1796 Sports Podcast, where me and Jim are going to talk about Tennessee baseball, talk about Tennessee basketball, Lady Vols, all winners this weekend. Another victorious weekend. Um, Starting with the basketball team, I would say it's their most impressive, at least top two impressive wins of the year. Maybe their most impressive win of the
Mm.
year, but going down to A&M, top 10 team in their building, taking care of them after a you know it's come to be expected now, these slow starts, but they overcame it and they got out of there with a 77-69 win. Jim, what did you think about that result?
I mean, you were witness to my emotions early in the game where it was just like, what is going on? To me, at some points, I feel like it's been all season where, other than Chaz Lanier, everyone seems to be afraid to shoot the ball, and they try to get it to Chaz to be like, "Oh, hey, you shoot it," like.
Yeah.
But turn it around. Jordan Gainey, big in the second half. Obviously Chaz. I mean, credit to Chaz. Without him, we would have gotten blown out. Um, and then Zakai with the dagger at the end of the game. I mean, Zakai came alive at the end of the game and, really turned that game around. But overall, I mean, like you said, I think it's the best game we've seen. And that's not even close to like the best game that they can play. Because again, I've said it multiple times this year that if Tennessee could put two halves together, it could be very, very hard to beat with that defense. And even if you boost the offense up just a tad, I
Yeah.
mean, hard to beat. And you saw that during the Auburn game. If if Tennessee would have hit a little bit, played a little bit more offense, we beat Auburn on the road. They played the defense. They didn't play the offense. So
Yeah. I Like you said, we always talk during these games, and when things aren't going well, I mean, I don't care that anybody's frustrated when we started the way we did. I mean, um, it was 17-8 after the first. I think it was at the under 12 timeout, and we were turning the ball over, letting them get their offensive rebounds like they do because they're the best offensive rebounding team in the country. And besides Chaz in those first 8 minutes, it was like everybody else looked lost. But then we went on I think it was a 28-15 run to end that first half, largely due to Chaz. I mean, he was going crazy. Um, 22 points in that first half. He trailed off in the second half a little bit, but like you said, Zakai and Gainey scored for the most part in the second half, but Chaz had big shots too. Um, it was a team effort. Um, it's pretty impressive that we held them to 5 of 30 from beyond the arc. Um, they're one of the worst 3 point shooting teams, but normally when you're at home, you shoot better, and they did not. I mean, they were terrible. Plus, they were coming off a midweek loss where they got embarrassed at Mississippi State, and they did have that hot start, like I kind of expected them to, but we overcame it. Zakai Ziegler in the last 5 minutes scored or assisted on 13 of our 17 points. The only four that he didn't were free throws by Chaz and free throws by Gainey. Um, and like it was probably a bad Zakai game to his standards this season, but he was still the driving force down the stretch.
well, he always is. I mean, that is the leader of this team.
Mm-hmm.
No questions about it. Is if Zakai's not out there, you could tell there's a little bit different type of play style that Tennessee plays. But ever since Zakai, and this is not even just the A&M game, but the game prior, you know, when he's aggressive on the offensive end, driving to the hoop, he creates so much
Yeah.
around him because when he goes to the basket, they merge on the inside. He gets someone on the outside to hit a shot or get a wide open look. They may not hit it, but you're getting those looks.
Yeah.
And again, him going to the basket, he gets fouled a lot. Small guy, you know, he knows what to do. And when he's shooting, like if he's got that one game like where he went 4 for 4 from three, you better watch out because that kid he's a Long Island boy. That's where I'm from. you know, I met him. He's a really cool guy too. So, but anyway, but yeah, Zakai's the leader of this team, and with him running, the point again. I think Tennessee can go the distance here. It's just they got to put two halves together. They got to, and that's including Zakai because Zakai had a terrible first, like I'd say 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Got two baby foul calls, and then he had to sit. And which we got to talk about that too, about the officiating, because that was horrendous, and not just on like our side, their side too. I mean, like calls just the officiating this year, especially Pat Adams. I wish you could see this, but you're the worst ref in all of sports, like including hockey, frisbee, whatever you want to call it. You're the worst. But but yeah, but Sakai is the leader, and he needs to keep that up, and hopefully this team can figure it out because this team can make the run, but
Yeah.
they just haven't put it all together.
Yeah. I mean, you're looking at it from the standpoint of, how this team projects in March, which is perfectly reasonable. But even the way they've played, even the inconsistency, it's good enough to be top 10 and a 2 seed right now. And we'll talk about that here in a second. They're what they should have to do to
I
get a 1 seed.
disagree. I disagree with the two seed right now. I think they should have locked up a one seed in my opinion right there. Top 10 on the road. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's an impressive win. It's an impressive win.
A&M's a
But
good basketball team. And one of my best buds is an A&M fan, and I told him I was like, if A&M had a guy like Chaz that was lights out from three,
yeah,
they would be almost unstoppable. Their defense is not as good as ours, but close.
it's the
And
second best defense behind us in the league.
yeah,
And
and we also let Anderson Garcia look like an all pro. Like, I mean, the
yeah,
dude's hitting threes when he shoots like 20% from three, and it's one of those games where one guy just shows up that normally doesn't do anything.
yeah.
And yeah, I hated how they talked about him on the broadcast too. They're like, "Oh, he's doing the Charles Barkley. He backs him in. And he looks." And I'm like, "Dude, he's not Janai Broom, bro. Like, stop."
I mean, he did have a good game, but it wasn't enough because Wade Taylor, who's supposed to be their guy, goes 4-15 from the floor, and if it wasn't for his free throws, and then you could say the same thing about Zakai too, because he had the same amount of three free throw attempts, but if it wasn't for his free throws, he would have scored less than 10 points. He was 0 of 9 from three, and you got to credit a lot of that to Zakai on the defensive end too, and Gainey and Meshack when he got switched on to him. I mean, the defensive effort was there. Um, but really, the thing that won Tennessee this game was 3-point shooting. Um, 13 to 27 from beyond the arc for Tennessee, and it covers up us getting out rebounded by 9. It covers up our turnovers. It covers up getting outscored in the paint. It's basically how we lost to Kentucky. I mean, we finally had a shooting performance that bails out our bad game in other aspects.
Yeah, and when, like you said, when Chaz Lanier goes absolute nuclear, where it seems like he doesn't miss at all, you could hear it in the crowd when he would
Yeah,
when he hit like his fourth three. They're like, "Oh God!" Like you could just it was just one of those games. And again, imagine a game like that with Gainey feeling it. Like, I just don't think Tennessee's beatable if they could get this offense rolling. And they have the offense to do it. I just feel like I don't know what it is, but like coming out lackadaisical or whatever you want to say. But another point I want to say is even Rick Barnes said Jemai Meshack, those two little slap it ins
huge,
were
huge.
huge in the game, huge momentum shifters. And you could see, I think it was the second one he did where he turns to the Tennessee bench, and you could just see how fired up he got, and it was like the turning point of the game.
Yeah,
And people don't realize that. Yeah, it's just a tip in, whatever. No, that was like that was needed for Tennessee to get through that game.
yeah. I love the greasy baskets. I don't care if it bounces off your shoulder and gets in there, because a lot of times if that happens, you're hustling, you're in the right spot, you're trying your ass off, and that's what Jemai Meshack brings. I mean, I know it's frustrating to watch him on offense sometimes because he's not the best jump shooter. He's not, the most explosive going to the basket. He's not a great finisher around the rim, but he brings stuff to this team that, a casual basketball fan just doesn't see. Um, those two tip-ins, like we've already discussed, huge. Um, and like if you just watch him play defense, I mean the people he's guarding look like they're behind bars. Like they look like they're having a terrible time because they are. I mean, he's probably the best on-ball defender Tennessee has, and it's worth it to have him in the game, even with his offensive struggles. And we've talked about it before. If he can give you 8 to 10 points a game, that also changes everything.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it needs to be a little bit more aggressive on the shooting aspect. Like, in the beginning of the game when they're giving you 5 feet in front of you, like take the shot. See if you're feeling it that day. You might be feeling it that day, and then they're gonna guard you, and that opens up the floor for everyone else.
Yeah,
And Rick Barnes has told him that, in the past. So hopefully, he'll listen to that because he's the whole game he's wide open. They don't even like they say, hey, I shoot it. And I've
yeah,
seen him, during warm-ups where he doesn't miss. That's what they're giving you is warm-up shots. Just do it. And, if you miss the first two, whatever, whatever.
yeah.
But and think about it, we were missing Igor pretty much this whole game because of those baby fouls he got,
The two in a row he got in like 5 seconds was a
where
joke.
he barely like touched anybody, and they're just like, "Get foul." That
Joke.
9 seconds later, foul. Like,
Mm.
but again, great team win though. Great team win. Big road win. Where do they play next? They
At
come home
LSU. At
at
LSU.
LSU, so I they should win that game, and then they come back home, right? And then they go on the road.
Yeah, the last four are at LSU on Tuesday night, home against Alabama on Saturday, at Ole Miss next Wednesday, and
That'll be a
they
tough game too.
they finish at home with South Carolina.
So I'd be happy with 3-1. I'd be
Yeah,
real happy with 3-1, and I'd rather lose on the road. But again, Tennessee when they play Alabama at home, I expect dark mode for that game.
mm.
Um, but
Dartmoor or the Vol script across the front.
yeah, they usually do that for the Alabama game. But I feel we didn't have the dark mode
Yeah,
last year, so I mean, overall, I think Tennessee has a good shot to finish this season 4-0 here. I mean, they could obviously beat all these teams,
yeah,
but you know, and what are they? What's their record now? 22-5. If
yes.
you could win all four of these, you finish what?
26-5, and then you got the tournament, the
Well,
SEC
you got
tournament.
13-5 in conference play if you could finish
Yep,
it off, which
yep,
is huge. So and I don't really care about the SEC tournament. I know everyone like freaks out and goes, "Oh, it'd be nice to win the tournament." Like, dude, don't care. Get me to March healthy. That's all I care about.
yeah. I will say, I think you cannot lose in the first round and get a 1 seed of the SEC tournament like they did last year. Um, but if you make it to Friday, or if you make it to, if we finish 4-0, we're probably a top four seed. So you'd have if you win one, you're in the semis. And I really think that that's going to be enough if we've gone 4-0. I think last year, if we had beat Mississippi State, we would probably get a 1 seed, which would have been huge. So it kind of matters, but I'm not expecting or wanting to win it. Like, of course, I want to win it, but I'm not going to be distraught if we don't.
No,
But
I agree.
that's the only reason it matters to me. But we're checking off things every year under Rick Barnes in the last few years. If you look at since 2020, 2021, the Keon Johnson, Jaden Springer year, they lost in the first round. Then the next year with Kennedy Chandler, they lose in the second round. Then in 2023, they lose in the Sweet 16. Then last year, we lose in the Elite Eight. So this year, we're going to the Final Four. It's simple math.
And depending on who you're playing, I mean, there's only like I wouldn't even say that there's teams that scare me, but obviously you've had your struggles with Kentucky. So, and I think it's a bad matchup. Now, I wouldn't want to see them there. I don't think they'll get there, but you never know. Usually, like their good teams always lose in the first round, but
Yep.
their worst teams will probably make it to the Sweet 16, Elite Eight, and but if Tennessee got to a Final Four, I feel like Duke and Auburn's the only two that go like, oh, that'd be a bang out type of game, and they could beat them. But those are
Yeah.
two teams where I'd be like, that's gonna be a rough one.
Yeah. I mean, Auburn on a neutral floor, since we played them so well there, worries me a lot less than Duke does. But they're still both they're the two clear cut best teams to me, and I think to most people. But what do you think Tennessee has to do in these last four games to get to 4-0? I mean, obviously you can't have slow starts that are they don't recover from. You can't. The number one thing for me is you can't overlook LSU on Tuesday
Yeah,
night.
I was just about to say that.
I think that's the sneaky game here because I think they'll be ready to play Alabama and they'll be ready to go on the road to a good team in Ole Miss like they just did yesterday against A&M. South Carolina, I'm not as worried about that because they finally did get their first win yesterday in the SEC, so they won't be desperate for that. But LSU is the sneakiest game here to me because they do have a really good prospect in Cam Carter, and they have
Mm.
nothing to lose. So
I don't know. It's not going to be as tough as a road environment as A&M was. But I agree. I think the only reason they could slip up here is they're looking past to Alabama.
yeah,
But again, this team, hopefully they're telling each other like, hey, we got to win this one. Then we can focus on, the next one. We always talk about that when it comes to football. You can't look to the Alabama game when you still got, Georgia to play. Like you just have to go one game at a time here. Kind of take it like March. This
yeah,
would be a good learning experience for them when it comes to March. You have to beat your opponent first to get to that next opponent. Don't worry about the other two teams that you might play. Doesn't matter. This is
yeah.
this is your you got to look at it as like this is your last game, you know. But I don't know. Has LSU beaten anyone big this year? I don't think they have.
They've the three SEC wins are Arkansas, Oklahoma, and South Carolina. So no, not really. Um, they played Ole Miss close. They played Auburn within 13. They lost to Bama by 7 in Tuscaloosa. They were with Florida yesterday until the last few minutes. Florida kind of went on a run to end that game, won by 14. But they're an athletic team. Tennessee's gonna be going on the road. So, like you said, just don't overlook this game because there's no reason that you should lose it besides overlooking it, and that would really make me mad. Like
Well, yeah, it's the
that,
same thing with Ole Miss though, because Ole Miss is a good basketball or school in general when it comes to sports, and that place will be rowdy on the road,
yeah,
especially when Tennessee comes to town. So it's going to be really interesting to see what they do. Like you said, LSU could be a sneaky one. Ole Miss is another one. Alabama's a tough one. The only one I'm really not worried about is South Carolina. But if they win those three, say they beat all three of those teams, then I'm definitely not worried about South Carolina.
yeah. If you look, even if Tennessee goes 3-1 in these last four, Alabama, who held down a 1 seed still after yesterday's win against Kentucky, they have to go. They have to play Mississippi State at home. They have to come to Knoxville. They have to play Florida at home. Then they end the year at Auburn. So there's a good chance Bama goes 2-2, and if we have a head-to-head over them, who knows how things shake out seeding wise? Because we have the same record. Like
Yeah.
like it's if we have that head-to-head and they lose one more game over the last four, you may not have to go undefeated. But
No.
of course, I think going undefeated is the safest way to get that 1 seed. So
Yeah. Oh yeah. And who's coming to town next Saturday, right?
uh,
No,
you,
no. Do you know?
um,
It's
is,
Sakai's son.
Mark Sears, yeah.
Yeah, and Grant Nelson. Both of them just when they come to Knoxville, it's kind of crazy. They forget how to play basketball. But now on a realistic note, Mark Sears has been playing out of his mind.
Yeah.
All you got to do is make this kid go right, and he's just like, it's no offense, but he's like handicapped, and I'm sure Sakai and Meshack will be doing that.
Yeah.
Is taking away his left hand as much as they can, obviously. But Alabama loves to shoot, loves to shoot. Nate Oates loves to tell him shoot 43s a game. That's his mindset. Um, but I don't know, man. I think Tennessee, if they would lose any of these games, it's going to be between LSU and Ole Miss. I just don't see. I mean, if I was off Saturday, I'd be going to this game. Like,
Yeah.
that game is going to be absolutely electric. TBA is going to be on fire. I mean, we'll see. It's going to be a good 4 games here. Oh, let's say a good 3 games. Hopefully, we could take care of business against South Carolina. But
Yeah. Rick Barnes has beaten Nate Oates a lot over the last 2.5 years. So we beat Alabama when they were number 1, when they had Brandon Miller, known murderer. We beat them twice last year in Tuscaloosa and in Knoxville. And you talked about Sears. I mean, just how to defend them. It was one of Meshack's best games last year against Alabama down in
even
Tuscaloosa.
offensively, it
Yeah,
wasn't just defense. He hit like 2 huge corner threes
yeah,
in that game. So
yeah. I mean, so it'll take a team effort against them, but since we're at home and all that, I agree that I'm really just worried about these road games and mainly just Ole Miss because, like we've talked about, I don't think this team is going to overlook them. I don't think Zakai
no,
and Jabbai and Rick will let that happen.
this is where the veteran mindset comes into play.
Yeah,
Is your veterans need to say, and Meshack's one of them. Even I think Gainey's one of them. I think this whole team is full of them to say, hey, one and done, one
yeah,
and done.
yeah, and they proved it yesterday because I had questions about that. Just with the way they've started games, but they proved it yesterday when they weren't at home because they did the same thing in their last game against Vanderbilt, but they were at home, so that it's a lot easier to do that when you have 20,000 people cheering for you, but when the whole crowd's against you, you can still do it. It really proves it. So, any
Yeah.
more thoughts on basketball before we move on to Lady Vols?
No, I think both these basketball programs are on the right track. I think, like you said, like I said, don't overlook each opponent. And I think Tennessee would be just fine. And I think if they finish 4-0, it's going to be hard to keep them out of a 1 seed. To me, Ole Miss is going to be a top 25 team on the road. Alabama, top 10 team, top 5 team coming to your house. LSU is probably, I don't know, it's probably a quad 2 win.
Quad 2, probably because it's on the road, yeah.
Yeah, so, and South Carolina is obviously nothing big, but if you beat Ole Miss and Alabama, it's going to be hard to say Tennessee's not a 1 seed.
Yeah. Um, these Lady Vols, man,
About damn time Kim Caldwell is her.
4-game win streak after that loss to LSU. They have now won 6 of their last 7. Um, didn't start out good today for Lady Vols either.
Mm-mm.
Much like the men down in College Station, but they righted the ship after being down. I think it was 37-26 at halftime. They were down by double digits, and then they exploded in the third quarter for 37 points. Um, Big team effort. Uh, Talasia Cooper was out for most of the first half because of 2 quick fouls in the first quarter, so that helped too. But they avoided that, trap game down there in Gainesville today.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, the Lady Vols are playing out of their mind. Kim Caldwell has already created a monster without even having to really create it.
Yeah,
Like we've said in past podcasts about how just imagine when she's getting these All Americans. Imagine when she gets that kind of like Josh Heupel. Josh
yeah,
Heupel's at that point where he's getting his players. Same thing with Kim. She gets these players. She's going to get transfers that want to come play at Tennessee. She's going to have, people come in next year for sure. And if I'm pretty sure I'm right. I mean, Cooper's going to be back.
Let me check because I
Unless she
think
goes to the draft, I don't know, but
she is a sophomore, so yeah, she can come back.
I think she'll come back. I don't think she's going to be she's not I think she could probably go in the first round, maybe. But I feel like if she stays one more year, she's going to cement herself as a dominant, player and go in the draft next year.
Yeah,
But again, you're going to have all these, players coming in. It's going to be interesting to see, Kim create a monster because Lady Vols basketball seems to be back, and we're just getting started first year, and you're what 21-6. I mean, that's crazy. No one expected that.
it's we would talk about it every week, man. I mean, it's way ahead of schedule, and I think people were starting to get wary of it in the middle of conference play when they were going through that gauntlet, which is understandable. But I think
Which
we
they
always,
don't. They played amazing. They
yeah,
they
I mean,
they lost by 2-3 points each game.
because I was about to say we always held that they're right there at it. They were just having bad luck or making a mistake at the worst times. But now, um, they're not making those mistakes, and I know they're playing not as good teams, but Alabama was ranked. They beat them at home, and this coming up on Thursday night for them up in Lexington against the Lady Wildcats. If they can win that game, I think you lock up a 4 seed. First 2 rounds at home, and Kentucky has not been as great lately. They have lost 3 of their last 5, so this is a gettable game, and I think these girls can do it.
Oh yeah, I mean, they got the firepower. They got I really wish they could fix the defense a little bit. It's hard to play defense when you're going up and down the court 40 times, but that's
Yeah,
the reason why she subs 5 every 2 minutes. So it's gonna be interesting though. I think the Lady Vols are really gonna, you know, I think they could get past the first 2 rounds, especially if they get a home seed,
yeah.
and it's up from there. I mean, we didn't expect them to win the national championship this year. I still don't expect them to do that. They can do that. If you catch them on their right night, they could beat anybody.
Hmm.
But, again, for a first year for Kim Caldwell, she's going to have, like, I don't think there's anyone better than her for her to be coach of the year. I mean, absolutely stellar. She was doing it pregnant, had a baby, and then she's still doing it. I mean, how do you not give her coach of the year after that?
I don't know of anybody else who could get it really. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm
you could
sure
look
that
at Kim Mulkey and all that, whatever, but
and or Notre Dame's coach or whoever, but
Notre Dame
it,
lost today.
I know that was to NC State, right?
Yeah.
Um, I mean, I doubt she gets it just because we're not a top 10 team or anything, but she should. I mean, you just laid it out. Like it's remarkable what she's done this year for the ladies, and there's no reason to believe that they'll slow down.
Creating a monster in Knoxville. I'm telling you, next year and the year after that, you're going to be like, oh my God, like we're keeping up with South Carolina. We're keeping up with LSU,
Yeah,
UConn's. It's going to be. Imagine if Tennessee had a player like Juju Watkins come to town. And I don't know if you've seen it. I posted a while ago when she committed. I don't remember the girl's name, but she was pulling like Damian Lillard type moves, popping step back threes. And I'm like, yo. And she's coming to Knoxville. Oh, God.
yeah.
Stop. I'll get a jersey. I'll get a jersey.
I mean, you look at it now. I mean, Talasia can come back. Ruby Whitehall can come back. Z Spearman can come back. So you got 3 ladies who can come back who have been in the system before to help next year with whoever else Kim brings in the transfer portal besides these uh, ladies she has committed right now. So again, no reason to believe it slows down next year and for the foreseeable future. Um, and yeah, any more thoughts on the ladies?
No, again, I think the sky's the limit for him. I said it before. I wouldn't want to be one of those, you know, good teams like a UCLA. I wouldn't want to be a UCLA with uh, Tennessee on your radar because I would love to see Lauren Betts in this transition offense. Like
Yeah,
Lauren Betts wouldn't be able to keep up with how fast Tennessee runs up and down the floor, being like 6'9" or whatever, how tall she is. But it's going to be interesting. They could keep up with the big dogs, and it's gonna. I wouldn't want to play them.
yeah. Can you tell me who leads the Tennessee baseball Volunteers in slugging percentage? Don't think about it. Don't think about it.
Levi Clark,
There you go.
the best freshman in the country. Like, and
So
he's right now he's a glorified pinch hitter.
yeah, he has 13 at bats, 8 runs, 7 hits, 3 home runs, 13 RBIs.
That's
Like
that's video game numbers with the
yeah,
game sliders all the way up.
538 average. I mean, I'm not saying he's going to be above 500 the rest of the year, batting average wise, but I don't like. I told you before, I don't want to, crown him early because Robin Villeneuve had the same story last year. He was hot and then he trailed off in conference play. But
Not this
this guy,
time.
this guy looks different. I mean, the way it pops off his bat is nuts.
Who does he look like to you? He looks like one guy, a previous Vol, very pretty recently, but just tell me the swagger, the slow walk after he smokes that home run. Like, I mean, the
I
kid
want to
just
say, I want to say Jordan Beck.
yeah, that's exactly what he's got. The
Yeah,
little bit of waves in the back.
yeah,
Someone had a picture of like him like on a side profile looking at that home run, and I was like, oh my god, that's Jordan. That's Jordan Beck Jr. Like, and
that's a good.
it's not even about we see his power. We see he could hit the ball. Same thing as Stone Lawless. I think both of them have like the same demeanor. The way how cool he is at the plate. It's not like he does. It doesn't look like he's pressured at all. He's just at the plate swinging the bat, and he's swinging the damn bat.
Yeah,
Stone Lawless too today. I mean, dude's a hitting machine too. It's good. What are we gonna do with this lineup, bro? Honestly, with all of the non-cons we played so far, it's hard to tell what this lineup is going to be.
yeah. I mean, we said it last week. That's what you want. I mean, you want
Yep.
options. Um, Levi or Stone will be one of them will be the DH. I think that's pretty apparent. I think Chapman's going to play. I think Bargo's going to play. Killen, Fisher, um, Curley, Manny,
Manny, that's another one.
and I think they need to find a spot consistently for Jay Abernathy too.
Yeah, dude, that dude gets on base, man. That's his on base percentage is very high. He's at what 6 stolen bases already. Like the dude's a maniac. I kind of find it very odd. I don't know if you felt this way too, but I'd rather have Bargo in the DH and Abernathy in left field.
Yeah, I mean
Just because of speed, he could cover a lot. He could. I don't know why, but I guess he's just giving. Because Bargo is playing good. I mean, his swings look good. Obviously, he's coming off that 2 home run game, two home run inning, and the veteran type thing. I think Tony's giving him, that shot. But like you said, it's gonna be hard to keep Abernathy out. Then you got Levi Clark. Then you got Stone Lawless. But again, like Tony has said this multiple times, these guys are the type of guys that root for their teammates that are getting to play.
yeah,
But you also gotta be cautious because look at what Levi Clark's doing. NIL nowadays, you could have LSU A&M throw a bag at that kid to come to town.
yeah. I think we're tiptoeing around it here. Do you want Peebles to catch if he continues to lag behind batting wise, just to have experience behind the plate defensively?
Cannon Peebles has been good defensively behind the plate. So is Stone. I mean, Cannon's probably thrown out a couple more than Stone, which is fine. But like you said, batting wise, Stone Lawless should be in the lineup. If you want to have a dangerous lineup, 1 through 9, Levi Clark and Stone Wallace have to be in the lineup.
Yeah. I mean, it, we say that, but Cal Stark was around 230 for most of last year, and he was one of the most important players.
He was, but he was way better defensively than Cannon Peebles.
To this point, yes. I mean, we still have a lot of time to we like we make the decisions. Tony still has a lot of time to figure this out,
Yeah.
and I think he's going to give Peoples the shot to be the starting catcher come conference
There's
play.
Peoples has we and I want to say this, on the record. Cannon Peoples has done nothing to tell me like he's not the starting catcher.
Yeah.
He's been swinging the bat. He gets on base, for the most part. Um, he's a switch hitter, which is great. But like you said, it's so hard, dude. It's so hard. You're gonna have a Dalton Bargo is gonna have to not play some games because you're
I,
talking about Abernathy and you're talking about what about what's his name, the left fielder from today, the freshman, Lindstrom. Is that his name?
I didn't have an opportunity to watch today. I just saw that. Newstrom?
Newstrom.
Yeah.
Newstrom, another one. He's been looking good in non-con.
Yeah.
I don't think he's gonna be SEC play type guy right now this year, but you got so many names to be like, what do you do?
I
Like,
mean, I think it's with the people situation, you have to think about experience behind the plate once you get into conference play, and you have to think about not wanting a guy like Stone Wallace or Levi Clark to leave in the transfer portal. So you got to he'll find a balance, I think, and we say it all the time. He'll find the right nine, and he'll find the right few guys to bring in the game in late innings.
yeah.
For example, I want Ariel Antigua playing second or short in late inning close SEC games
Oh yeah,
because
that dude's a magnet.
he is incredible defensively, and he's going to get a shot in the MLB even if he bats 200. Like he is that good defensively, and
Well,
he
he's a second baseman in the MLB.
either way, short or second, he needs to be in the game in late innings. Even if Abernathy doesn't start, he'll come in to pinch run in close games. It's it's a team that you can tinker with, and you can have a lot of
Yep.
guys play a lot of important spots and keep everybody happy for the most part. I think so. He'll find that mix. I'm very confident that he will find that mix.
Well, not only that, I mean, Antigua's gonna be a starter next year. I mean, because Curry will be gone. Um, Fisher, depending on how he has the rest of the season, will probably be gone. I don't know if he's a senior or not, but um, he'll probably be gone. Killen, the way he looks right now, he looks like he'll probably be gone as well.
Yeah.
And again, that opens up second base and shortstop. Jay Abernathy, Antigua, right there. I like those two defensive spots. But yeah, this team, it's a good problem for Tony to have. Don't get me wrong. But like you said, you got to keep people happy because you got a guy like Levi Clark. Hey, I'm putting up monster numbers, and you're not going to find a spot for him. I would give Levi a shot at first. Like see what's going on. Put Fisher at third, but then Manny Marin's not in, and Manny's been playing really well himself. So again, great problem to have.
What did you think about a Saturday's game where Tony went with Phillips for the first, I think it was 5 innings, and then he finished with Snead instead of starting Snead today? How'd you like that
I've
combination?
always I've said it all the time. I love Nate Snead. Love me some Nate Snead. He's to me, and at least in college ball, he is awesome out of the pen. He is kind of like what Chase Burns was when he was coming out of the pen. He was just electric out of the pen, and I think that's a spot for him as only if we could find that Sunday guy. Because right now, we haven't seen Coons yet.
Mm-hmm.
I think Coons is going to have an opportunity to get a start and show what he's got because you could tell they still don't know who that Sunday guy is. It's going to be Liam Doyle, Marcus Phillips, and who knows. But Marcus Phillips looks good too. So
The only thing about Phillips is he's still young. Like he's still a very, and it's just like because on Saturday he had where he threw it into the outfield and they got a run off of it, and I don't think he's there yet fully with controlling the run game. I think he is too slow to the plate sometimes, but he had that problem last year too in a few spots. So they'll work on that with him. But his stuff is electric, no
Oh
doubt.
yeah.
Um, and of course we got to talk about Liam Doyle. I mean, good lord, 14 strikeouts and 5 1/3. He only didn't strike out two of the guys he faced.
Dude, and the fact that he's touching 99, like he right now, if he does this all year, he's a first rounder. He might be like, to me, he could be a top 5 pick. Like
Oh,
when you got a lefty touching 99, like, and if he could figure out a nasty slider, oh my god, you get someone in there with a teach him a slider, dude,
yeah.
that's Chris Sale.
I mean, it again. We're playing Sanford and UNC
I don't care.
Asheville, but I mean,
I don't care.
you cannot fake 25 strikeouts and 2 starts, of 5 inning starts too.
Look at what Sanford did the next 2 games. They hit us pretty good.
Yeah, I mean,
Not Liam Doyle. Not Liam
yeah,
Doyle.
yeah. It was it's just like he's pitched 10 1/3 innings. That's 31 outs. Okay, he struck out 25 of them.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, what?
Trust me, I pitched in high school. He reminds me of a kid I played in high school that was a lefty, and he threw that hard,
Yeah,
and he literally threw like 3 no-hitters in a row. Like, that's Liam Doyle.
it's exciting to me because in SEC play, even if he doesn't have his best start, swing and miss stuff is very important. Like you'll drain your pitch count down fast if you don't have swing and miss stuff because people can foul off pitches like nobody's business in the SEC. I saw it with Dolander in 2022. No, Dolander in 2023. He had this like he would strike out a lot of guys, but it always took him 7 8 pitches to do it
Yeah, and
because
he'd be out by the 5th inning.
yeah. So and I think he could have gone 7 innings both these games. They're just trying to see a lot of guys here in conference play.
Oh,
So
yeah, for
it's
sure.
it's very exciting that he has that good a swing and miss stuff. So and I'll say this: we talked about it before we started. Like we'll find out a lot more this next weekend when they play Rice, Oklahoma State, and
Arizona.
in Arizona down in Houston. So that'll be exciting to watch too, seeing how they look coming out of next weekend.
What do you think about? We haven't talked about him yet. Honestly, I don't think it even matters. But Alberto Ozuna still hasn't been eligible,
If
and
you,
that's another bat.
I'm not holding out much hope there, and
I,
I don't know why I feel bad about it, but I just don't have a good feeling about it because of this how late it was in the process. I think it's going to take if we get them, it'll probably be halfway through conference play or something.
yeah,
So
you know who we also haven't seen is honestly. Oh yeah, Anson Siebert. We haven't seen him yet. You know who I'm talking about?
pitcher,
6'8", 235, throws really hard,
yeah,
and was like the number 1 pitcher at a high school this year. We haven't seen him yet, and you haven't seen, like I said, Coons, but he's been sick. Another guy I want to talk about, and I love his little attitude at the end of this game today. Combs, bro, that kid is filthy, absolutely filthy with that circle change, bro.
did you see the side by side of him and Aaron pitching? That was like the same wind up and finish. Like it's the same
Same
thing.
attitude, same attitude. And I'm
It's
like, dude, he's a freshman, right?
yeah, it's uncanny how much it looks like his brother. So
Oh yeah,
this bullpen's going to be good. The starters are going to be good. Whoever ends up being those 3 starters, and it could be like last year where they make a change halfway through conference play and start a guy for 2 innings like they did with Stamos, and switch around a little bit. But whatever Tony decides to do, I trust. There's no reason not to trust him. So
yeah. And we haven't even talked about that. We're not even talking about AJ Russell right now.
I mean,
What happens when AJ Russell comes back and you could literally have Liam Doyle, AJ Russell Marcus Phillips. Like
That's
that's a
the thing.
nasty three.
That's the thing. The longer you think about this, the more you remember. Oh, we got that guy too. It's like a
Yeah.
damn academy of talent. Just like a conveyor belt. Like it's like it's exciting. Like we haven't seen Dylan Loy either, who played a lot of important innings last year. We haven't seen a lot of guys from last year that are.
He has to be hurt or something because I feel like
I,
he would have gotten some pitches in.
the flu. I think you said it last week. The flu has been
Tegan Coons, yeah.
ravaging the roster. So yeah, there's probably stuff we don't know, but
Can I also say something about Tegan Coons? I don't know if you know about, and I don't know if anyone listening knows about. Do you know Tegan Coons pitched? And this is high school.
mm,
He pitched 117.1 innings and was 14-4 with a 1.3 ERA and
damn.
193 strikeouts. Can we just talk about like that's gonna be a guy that comes out of the bullpen?
Yeah,
That's how
this
good this team is.
this year at least. Yeah, I mean,
Oh no,
it's
he will be a starter. He will be a starter
yeah,
at some point in his Tennessee career.
yeah. I mean, it's just again, the more you think about it, it just gets crazier and crazier. And I'll say this one last time, but I really don't mean it. I'm trying to temper expectations here because we haven't played elite competition yet. But I don't see this team struggling in conference play more than like I think the worst case would be like 18-12 in conference play, like winning 6 series and losing, um, 4 or something. Like that's the worst I can see this team doing, and it's going to be exciting. And I can't wait to see what they do this weekend. Like I said earlier, any more thoughts on baseball before we end on a pretty annoying bit of football news?
I don't think so. I think we got a lot to see with this baseball team. We have the talent. It's gonna be fun baseball season this year.
100%. We had some cowardice this week from Nebraska Cornhuskers administration, athletic department, whatever you want to call it. They decided to cancel our home and home in 2026, 2027, because they're renovating their stadium and they want more home games or something like that. Sounds like a bunch of cowardice to me.
Sounds like they're trying to get that like Ohio State schedule where they play maybe a game or two that are considered difficult. And hey, no shame to Ohio State. I'm not throwing you shade because you guys are the highest NIL paying team and you won the national championship. I get that, but like if Tennessee played that schedule, I would love it. But Nebraska doing this is just little baby shit. Like just play the games. That'd be a fun game to watch. Like Dylan Raiola, Nico Iamaliava, if Nico's still here, but maybe George McIntyre, Brandon Faison, who knows? Two very rowdy fan bases, two blue bloods in football. I mean,
Yeah.
but hey, there's always a plus side to this because who are we gonna get? That's my thing.
The thing that annoys me the most is this series here, this home and home, had been scheduled since 2006. Okay, it got delayed a decade because it was supposed to happen in 2016, 2017. Um, Ironically, we ended up playing Nebraska in the Music City Bowl that year anyway, but got delayed then for another decade, and now a year before they decided to cancel it. Like, and
Scared.
Danny White said the buyout, you know, details in the contract need to be higher the closer you get to the home and home, which I 100% agree with because now, like you said, since he has to find somebody, Nebraska obviously had theirs planned beforehand because they've already scheduled Bowling Green, Cupcake, and Miami, Ohio, Cupcake. So it's just annoying,
I
but
know what to do with the money though.
let us know.
Tristan Keys,
Yeah,
Brandon Faison throwing to Tristan Keys. Come on now, like what are we talking about? Number one wide receiver in the country. Like what are we talking about?
yeah. It Another thing is that I'm reading about this now. I just pulled up an article about it. They haven't had 8 home games since 2013, and now they decide they want eight home games because
No
they'll
one
have
cares, bro. No one like other than Nebraska fans. No one wants to watch Nebraska. Like, there's a reason why. Why was Tennessee 8 night games this year? It's because people wanted to watch Tennessee,
yeah. They were in prime time for all but what, like
not
3 or 4 games.
Nebraska.
Yeah, it's just we can talk about who they might schedule now. I saw a lot of people throwing around your Notre Dames, um, your I think it was Notre Dame, Memphis, and a few others. But
I would love a Memphis series just to beat the ever like just because they all talk smack. All the Memphis fans talking smack. Oh, we would destroy you. All this stuff. It's like, bro, you play in like the American Conference that no one even knows what teams are in it. So like,
yeah, I would like it too. The thing
just an
is,
in-state thing.
uh, yeah, and I would just like to beat them.
Yeah,
Like you said, I mean, it would be fun to host them in Neyland. I don't
it's
think they have.
Vanderbilt's little brother. It's our little brother's little brother.
Yeah, yeah. We haven't played them since 2010, so that would be a good option. I'm not too hot on the Notre Dame idea just because I don't want.
No, that's a tough game.
Yeah, I
And you
don't
have
want us
to.
to.
I said it before we even started recording, Ryan. You lose that could ruin your chances in the college football playoff.
Yeah,
And I understand. I would love to see that game. I really would. I'd love to see it in the playoff.
yeah. I mean, the bottom line is Danny and whoever else makes those decisions for Tennessee will have to find 2 games on pretty short notice, which is not easy to do. I mean, a lot of these Power Five programs have their games scheduled for 6, 7, 8, even a decade in advance. So it probably won't be anybody like that. So that's
Which is
just the reality.
fine. Which is fine.
And then yeah, I agree. I'd rather just
You
schedule
can't
some.
hate on Danny White for when a team backs out and you have to schedule him for next year.
Yeah, I mean you're put in a spot where you pretty much are going to be hard pressed to not schedule an easy win. So it is what it is. Like
Well, and think about it as like a Notre Dame side too. They don't want to schedule coming to Neyland Stadium.
hell no, nobody wants to schedule that. Like that's
And
why
it's the
it's
same thing with us though. Like I don't want to schedule going to Notre Dame. Like
yeah.
it would be cool to see, but like
At least like that's why they schedule so far out because it's hard to predict how good a team is going to be. They're just like, oh, we have a marquee
Coach
matchup on.
Marcus Freeman might leave. What happens if when he
Yeah,
leaves?
that's
Or Josh Heupel, same thing.
that's why it's done like that. People don't want to schedule something where they know this team is probably going to be pretty damn good. Like
Like
so,
Georgia,
yeah.
Georgia's probably going to be good as long as Kirby Smart is there. They're going to be good.
So again, we'll probably find out in pretty short order. I would say in the next 2-3 weeks that we're playing in these next 2 years that are 2 games in the next 2 years that are now not going to happen. So that'll be interesting. But again, just pretty annoying and pretty poor form by Nebraska to make this decision this late. So
Yeah,
it is what it is.
yeah.
Any more thoughts tonight, Ben?
No, but I want to ask you as a Titans fan, what do you want them to do for their first pick of the draft? Do you want them to trade? Do you want them to take somebody? Because my team's right behind you.
Yeah, yeah.
So
It. I'm not sold on Shador or Cam as quarterbacks.
at the NFL level,
Yeah, I mean, the scouting department, even if it's the Titans, they kind of know what they're doing. I mean, it's a new
they know who
regime,
they're picking.
so I mean, if it were me, I would trade back with either
The
your
Giants,
your Giants or the Raiders, who would want a quarterback and draft Travis Hunter, Abdul Carter,
probably the
somebody like
Patriots. Yeah,
somebody like that, and still get a really good player in the top 5 and pick up another first rounder next year or second rounder or what have you. So I would trade back, still get an elite player. I want Travis Hunter. I think Travis Hunter's going to be really good. I think he's the most proven prospect. So
well, and you have plenty of free agent quarterbacks that you could play over
Yeah.
Will Levis. Will Levis is trash. We knew that since he was at Kentucky. Whatever. We
You
tried
tell me.
telling them they could have had Hendon Hooker, but they whatever. But what I want to happen is what I think Tennessee should do is trade back to, like you said, to the Browns or the Patriots. Because if you trade to the Patriots are going to take Travis Hunter.
Probably.
And you get those picks, you get that fourth pick. Browns are probably going to take Cam Ward. Giants will take Shador.
Yeah.
I already know that it's going to happen. Honestly, low key, I think the Giants are a little bit racist. I would not be shocked. I would not. What do you mean? What do you mean? Explain.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh well, I just don't see them picking Shador Sanders. And
Okay,
I feel like
so you're talking about the lack of black quarterbacks that have played
under
for
the
the
Giants organization, yeah.
Okay, yeah, okay.
I would not be surprised if the Giants trade back or take a different type of player and get Jackson Dart late.
They're gonna have to do something at quarterback. I don't know what the hell it
They have
is.
to. I want Shador. Or Cam Ward, either one.
Yeah, I mean the
But
Giants, but I was talking about the Titans. Like they're gonna have to do something. I mean you can't get
Shador and Malik Neighbors are going to be neighbors.
yeah.
It's going to be absolutely bonkers with either one of those. I mean, Cam Ward or the only thing I don't like about Cam Ward is his nonchalant. Like he's not going to be able to do that in the NFL.
No, the standing in the pocket stationary. Like
Yeah, and then not with the Giants' offensive line. He best be ready to run, boy.
That's the same thing with the Titans line too, man. I mean,
oh no, dude.
it's
But I think your line's better than our line. And it's sad because we have what's his name from Georgia, Thomas, and we also have Evan Neal from Alabama. How is that bad?
You never can tell, man. It'll be interesting. I'll be glad to have Bryce on here for some draft talk.
Bryce is. We miss our third man chemistry. I don't know. He's been.
Shout out Bryce. Shout out Bryce.
R.I.P. Bryce. Haven't heard from you.
Hey, I know he'll be on for the March Madness podcast. Like last year.
He just needs to be on all podcasts because this podcast goes a long way with us three.
Amen. Amen. Any more thoughts tonight, man?
Nope. Go Vols and fuck Bama.
I like
it's Bama hate week.
Go Vols, fuck Bama, fuck LSU, fuck Ole Miss, and fuck South
Carolina.
There you have it.
There you have it.